So that's the first fundamental motion, that's the second fundamental motion, and the third one is the great year of 24,000 years. Now you may have seen that the figure is 25,920. Well, that's the same year, okay? The reason for this figure is because, according to Walter Cruttenden, as our sun orbits around a far distant star called Sirius, that's not a very good, but they're supposed to be perfectly oval like that. It takes 24,000 years for them to go around each other. Now, as they get closer to each other, they speed up. So, precession is variable, okay? It's not a fixed figure. You will see that the Hindus insist that it's 24,000 years. But in Egypt, they have this figure, and they're both correct. So, but the point is, and I want to get off this and get straight into what the Holy Science really is, because I really stress that those three cycles are the cycles that the Holy Science is based on, because these are the motions of our sun in relation to the earth. Now, is we all pretty familiar with precession? Yes? No? Okay. So most of the monuments, the megalithic monuments around the world, were designed to align to certain points of precession, because it was very, very important to monitor where we are in the stream of time. For instance, we know that we've been in the age of Pisces for 2,000 years, and now there's a changeover to the age of Aquarius coming. Well, that's because as we go around, as Sri Yukteswar said in the book, as we go around Sirius, we actually go, this is the dark ages, because we are so far away from our sister sun. But as we head toward Sirius, we go to the silver age, the bronze age, then the silver age, and as we are, when our sun gets to this point here and Sirius is at that point there, we will be close to each other, and this is the golden age. And the Egyptians and the Hindus agree that this is the age that lasts the longest. And now we are heading back to that time. And what 2012 is all about is simply the fact that we are going through the equinoctial crossing of this particular cycle. And this is how it works. Our Milky Way galaxy is a spiral galaxy. We know that, but we don't see it like that. We see it like a river in the sky. And it's spiraling every 220 million years around. And what happens in this particular orbit is that our sun takes us in the to the northern hemisphere of the Milky Way galaxy, and then to the southern hemisphere, and then back again. And it's from here to here is 24,000 years. That's the cycle of precession. And it's 12,000 years in the northern hemisphere and 12,000 years in the southern hemisphere. Yang, yin, positive, negative, electric, magnetic. We are right here. And we have been crossing, if that were the Milky Way equator, we have been crossing that for the last, I think, 15 years. What's 2012 is that our sun will be perfectly there, and then it will be more north than south after the 21st of December 2012. So the question is, why aren't our governments preparing the biggest party celebration in history? Because this is beautiful. We're coming to the end of the age. And according to the Holy Science, when that happens, there's a harvesting of souls. Christians call it going to heaven. That's the fictional version. The real version is we ascend. And as we ascend through our through Jacob's ladder, what I will show you with the Holy Science is that our solar system The 7 planetary bodies that we see in our solar system are the 7 chakras. We descend through the hierarchical order of these planets as a soul, and we gravitate to Earth, where we are living. And those planets are responsible for these energies. These are our spiritual organs, the endocrine system, with the glands, the pineal gland being the master of the other glands, the pituitary gland and the thymus and the thyroid and the heart chakra and the solar plexus. These correspond with our spiritual evolution and our transmutation. As we burst these chakras through proper habits, proper sexual habits, proper meditation, proper goodness and kindness and consciousness, just love, which is not what the religions are teaching. They're teaching us to be fearful of some enemies, the devil, and all sorts of fear-mongering and hell. Rather than teaching this through love and humanity, we can actually burst these chakras and grow and evolve and transmute and turn our lead into gold. So those 7 chakras are the 7 planets of our solar system, and they also are the 7 days of the week. Sun, Sunday. Moon on the earth, Monday. Mercury, Mars, Tuesday. Marte, martedì in Latin. That's Mars. Tuesday is devoted to Mars. Mercury, mercoledì in Latin or Italian, but it's Mercury, Wednesday. The king, Zeus, Jupiter. Thor, Thursday. That's Thor, the god of thunder. Why? Because if you look at images of Jupiter close up, you will see that there are thunderstorms just like the hydrogen sun, because they are almost the same composition. They're just gas giants. These are all gas giants. These 4 little planets are the only solid ones in the solar system. That's constantly thunderous, the nature of Jupiter. Therefore, that's why he's the god of thunder. Saturn, well, that's Saturn Day. That's the last visible planet. We cannot see these 2 planets with our eyes. So these are the 7. These 7 are called the Elohim in the Bible. In Genesis, when it says, let us make man in our image and let us create, it's these guys talking. The ancients believed that these bodies were not just physical entities. They have a psychic body and a spiritual body. Plotinus, Plutarch, in the first centuries, the great Neoplatonic philosophers taught us that there are 3 suns. The body, the physical body of the sun, the psychic body of the sun, which teaches us that we are in the psychic consciousness of the sun. That's what we're doing. We're communicating through the psychic consciousness of the sun. And the true sun, which is the spiritual sun, the ethereal sun. The elements, according to Plato, are 4: earth, water, air, and fire. And the 5th, the quintessence, ether. From ether come the visible planes. These are this is the inferior world, the world of effects. This is the world of causes, where everything emanates from. All the patterns, all the atomic patterns, the beautiful animals that you see, and everything are in here. The indescribable Ein Sof of the Jews, prime creator. This, down here, with the 7 Elohim, they are the demiurge, they are the cosmocrators, the 7 Olympians. They are the creators of the material world. So, these have their correspondences in the Platonic solids. There are 5 shapes. There are only 5 shapes that will fit inside a sphere perfectly. And they are the dodecahedron, tetrahedron, octahedron, icosahedron, and hexahedron. Now, I do have some pictures of that, but you're all are most of you familiar with the Platonic solids? No. I will show you the picture then. Thank you for being honest, and I can do this thoroughly. Those are the Platonic solids. Okay? They are the only shapes that will fit inside a sphere and touch at every point. This one has 4 sides. It's a tetrahedron, and it corresponds with fire. Notice I've got the correspondence there. Okay, it's very important to note the correspondence, because you will see how the universe is made and how it works. Those Platonic solids are in all the atoms. If you have a look at the periodic scale, you will see all the elements. All atoms will be either solid, liquid, gas, or what they call plasma or light or fire. All atoms. They will all do that. You can get your periodic table to tell you which ones go where, but an atom will form a molecule, or it will a solid, or a liquid, or a gas, or it will be of light. Notice the correspondences: fire, tetrahedron, light, temperature. These are the four elements that make up 97% of our bodies. Our bodies are made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Notice that carbon corresponds with the molecule, the solid, the hexahedron, the earth element. So what we're beginning to notice is that all the gross stuff is here, and it gets finer as it climbs back up to ether, the fire. Let's get into the holy science and how it works, its mechanics. This is an absolute wonderful journey you will go through by discovering this science. This is a very beautiful and old map. I love maps. But this map, I struggled to find a map with this sine wave on it. Right? Now we all, if we've done our geography, the basic thing here is that is the equator, and then there is the lines that are very important called the Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer. Okay? And then this sine wave starts from the equator, and it climbs up to the Tropic of Cancer, goes through the equator again, down into the southern hemisphere, hits the Tropic of Capricorn, and then comes back every year. So every year we get a summer followed by a winter pulse. It's a pulse, but it's a cycle. That's the cycle. And that fractal of the cycle, when you know those fractals, you will be a master of astrology. You will be a master of the holy science, because astrology and the holy science are one and the same. That's actually the journey of the sun, of course, because of the tilt of the earth. It's 23.5 degrees. Okay? So as the tilt of the earth, if my fist is the sun and the earth goes around at 23.5 degrees, well, the southern hemisphere here will be in summer, autumn, winter, and spring. The earth maintains that 23.5 degrees every year as it goes around the sun. So in the southern hemisphere you've got summer, autumn, winter, spring, the 4 cardinal points. There's a modern map with the same sine wave. Notice the 12 segments. There's the skies, the stars, and that's the belt of the zodiac. And it begins with Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius. Why does it start with Pisces? Because we're in the age of Pisces, and there's the equinox. The equinox is happening in Pisces. Soon, after 2012, that segment will go to there, because the sun goes backwards through the zodiac every 24,000 years, because this is clockwise. These are anti-clockwise. The day and the year are anti-clockwise, which means, let's say that's east and that's west. The sun comes up in the east, sets in the west. The zodiac belt, which is in the same 17 degrees slot that the sun will always be in, you notice the stars, if you're watching them, every 15 degrees, every hour they go 15 degrees, okay? Till they go around once, because of that. Because we're rotating. They're not moving. But we see them in the east, and they go around once. Every year the same thing. Today the sun has entered the sign of Taurus. Yesterday it was in Aries. So if you could see where the sun was, it's Aries is behind the sun. The sun is in Aries. So the sign that the sun is in, you cannot see it, because the sun blots the light of those stars out, so you can't see them. What I'd like to do now is draw a graph on the board, and that's the very graph. So there's the Earth, there's the equator, there's the Tropic of Cancer, there's the Tropic of Capricorn. That's the sine wave, okay? Now, I've probably stretched that out a little bit more because I've got a lot of information that I've got to put in there for you. What happens is, there's the cardinal, that's an equinox, and that's an equinox. Now, equinox, nox is night, equal, only on those 2 days, March the 21st, the equinox, that's a very holy day. In Japan they have a public holiday on the equinox. It's sakura season, the blossom season. The blossom begins at spring. Aries, the sign of the lamb. The wool of the sheep is the blossom, the white blossoms you see on the trees. It starts the season. That's the first day of the Jewish sacred year. This equinox, September the 21st, the autumnal equinox is the first day of the Jewish secular calendar. There's the solstices, the longest day of the year, the shortest day of the year, for the Northern Hemisphere, because this is Northern Hemisphere science. Okay? When the sun hits that point, it's June the 21st, Prince William's birthday. They're making a lot of fuss about that fact. December 21st is the shortest day of the year. Winter, summer. Photosynthesis, life, harvest, growth, green. In fact, I'm going to put that in green because it'll have a great effect, and you'll see why. When the sun hits the Tropic of Cancer, the sun is in Cancer. So, that's Cancer for 30 days, or for 30 degrees of the pie. Then it goes to midsummer. This is spring, of course, March, summer, autumn, winter. We can also bring this around, which I'm going to do. We'll go to that later, but for now we stick with this sine wave. By the way, this sine wave, see that, the cardinal points? That's the Holy Cross. The sine wave is also the yin and the yang, the letter S, the serpent, the wisdom of the serpent sitting on the tree. The sign of eternity, because you can go around this way too. It goes round and round. And in fact, that is where the figure 8 comes from. The figure 8 comes from the sun above and the sun below the horizon. If I get a chance to, I'll go through that. All the numbers come from here, all the letters of the alphabet, everything comes from here. All our religions, they're all astrotheological. All the characters in the Bible, all of them, every single character in the Bible are one of those 7 or the 12 signs of the zodiac. All of them. Abraham, the moon, will be Sarah. Adam and Eve will be the moon. Jesus and Mary Magdalene, all of them. And all the fairy tales are based on this sine wave. Cinderella is here. Little Red Riding Hood is here. Humpty Dumpty is here. They're all here. All of them. I'm going to show you that. It's a big story. But this science, we're very fortunate to be able to have this science because it has been persecuted. Most of the martyrs of history, going back to Socrates, Seneca, Giordano Bruno, Thomas More, they all died for teaching this. They weren't Christian martyrs. The heretics were people who taught the real science, the truth of who the characters in all our holy books really are. They are our heroes and life givers, the planets of our solar system. When you know the solar system, in fact, the early century Christians used to be called solar heliognostics, sun knowers, to know the sun. And in fact, that, and the Romans put a US on the end of it, that is the Hebrew word for the sun. It's yes, it's pronounced yes. And it comes from Jesus, and that's why we say yes, because it's positive, and the sun rises and the sun sets. Jesus, yes, yes we can, is the sun. And from that we get yeah, the year, because who's responsible for the year? It's the yes. And the month is, who's responsible for the month? Well, it's the moon. The minute is the moon. The hour, well, that's H-O, grab that R and put it here, and the U put it there, and you've got Horus. Because when you ask what hour is it, where is Horus? He's on the horizon, Horus's zone. The belt of Horus is the zodiac. That's the horizon, Horus's zone. So we have all these beautiful summer months. Cancer, Leo, these are the 12 apostles, by the way. These are King Arthur's 12 knights. These are the 12 tribes of Israel. Leo, Virgo. When the sun goes below the equator, it goes into Libra. And around that time, September, in the northern hemisphere, the leaves start turning red. So the sun is going through the Red Sea. It's going down to Hades to die and be crucified on the cross. The sun gets crucified 4 times every year. Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. 4 Gospels. Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. Sagittarius with the arrow, he's the one that gets Achilles, who is the sun, in the heel. The last day of Sagittarius is the 21st of December, the shortest day of the year. That's where the sun dies. 4 days later, on the 25th, we celebrate Christmas, the birthday of the sun, of Yes, the year person, who climbs back up that ladder when the sun descends from its holy throne where its enthronement is, and it gets crucified here, and it goes down to die in December, then it climbs back up again and becomes victorious. And I'll show you that. It's just beautiful how this story is in the Bible. It's in the Bible when the children of Israel come out of the Red Sea and they go into the promised land and they celebrate the Passover, which they just did last full moon, 3 days ago. That was the Passover, Nisan 14. Why do they call it the Passover? Because the sun has passed over out of the Red Sea, and they eat the lamb of the Passover because it's Aries. Aries is the lamb. There's Aries, the lamb of God that takes away the sin of the world. Why does it take away the sin of the world? Because this is forgiveness. Up here you get to live. It's photosynthesis. The opposite of live is evil. Lived, devil. There ain't no devil that's out there that's having a war against another fictional God who's called Jehovah. That's their fiction. This is all the evil that it's nature. Nature gives us good things and it gives us bad things. If you don't prepare for winter in the Northern Hemisphere, you will freeze to death if you haven't got enough clothes, enough nuts and bread and berries and oil and wine in your pantry. Sometimes for 5 months you're indoors. And if you haven't got a chimney high enough, you'll perish because the snow will destroy you. And you think, is that God doing that? No, it's nature. Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. I'm going to do this, I'm going to enlarge this so I can fill in a lot of information. There's so much information here, guys, that it's just, I really don't know where to begin. I could do 6 hours of just all the nursery rhymes. 6 hours on just fairy tales. I've got beautiful books, the myths. It explains and deciphers all of them. It's all about the sun. Every hero story, the Ennead, the Metamorphosis, the Iliad, the Odyssey, all those heroes, it's all the sun. Troy, this is Troy, and the war in heaven. In fact, right now there is a war in heaven. There are 6 planets 5 planets in Aries, minus the sun. There's Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Venus. Big alignment. And they're all opposed. Jupiter is opposed to Saturn in Libra at the moment, and it's an opposition. In astrology, it's just the planets. And the wars in heaven, it's just the planets when they're opposing each other or in the wrong aspects. Have a look at this. Now, isn't this just convenient? When the sun crosses the equator, the lamb of the wool is the blossom season. The bull tells you to take out your bull and plough the ground and harvest and plant the seed. Otherwise you'll miss the boat for the harvest in Virgo. The Virgo who holds the sheath of grain, so that when the sun is in Virgo, you know, and the virgins go out and gather the harvest. In the Virgo. This is the house of bread, Bethlehem. And you plant here, you can harvest here, and you can eat here. Otherwise you don't eat. Gemini. Gemini are the twins, because there are twin lambs, twin goats, all around the place in spring, the beautiful spring. When the sun hits Cancer, it's a sidewards walking animal. Therefore, the sun has nowhere to go but to go sideways. When it hits the lion is the beast that is most typical of the sun. All solar emblems have the lion in it. That's summer, midsummer. The Virgin is the harvest season. The scales of Libra are there to signify that the sun has just gone through the equinox. Scorpio. When they see Scorpio, there are only 4 red stars in the sky. One of them, Antares, is in Scorpio. So it's the red dragon. It's the one who, after the sun has been judged in the scales of Libra, it's the one who is standing there to bite the sun as a backbiter and kill it and send it to its death and betray the sun, and so does Sagittarius with his arrow. That's why they are there, to betray the sun after he's judged in the scales. Scorpio's the backbiter. This is the Apostle Judas, the backbiter, the betrayer, because he betrays Well, he was called a backbiter because the scorpion bites with its back tail, not its front. And also the bite of a scorpion resembles the kiss, the two lips. That's why Judas betrays the Son with a kiss. It's all there. It's all in the sky. When you read the Bible, look up and get to know those beautiful stars. There are 12 zodiac signs, but there are also 72 other signs. Take note of that. There are 84 separate constellations in the sky. They were put there deliberately because what is up there is in your body exactly. And the zodiac goes straight through your body. See the sine wave? See where Aries is? Taurus, Gemini. Aries, Taurus, Gemini. Every day the sun goes through your body. Aries in the head, Pisces in the feet. And every hour, because 6 o'clock is here, 12 o'clock is here, sunset, 6 o'clock is here, 12 midnight is here. Notice how the sunrise corresponds with spring. Perfect correspondence. When you know that the day is the same as the year, is the same as the body, when you know those three cycles, you are a master of astrology. That's the basis of astrology. This nature is what astrology is all about. Let me just finish that little bit there. After Sagittarius is Capricorn, the goat likes to climb up the mountain. Aquarius is the wet season, January. That's when the sun gets baptized. And I'll show you that later. And then Pisces is the fishing season. Perfect agricultural correspondence. Perfect. And as I will show you, it corresponds with everything else in the myths and the legends. Here's some esoteric charts of what I was showing. These are very, very old charts. Aries on the head, Taurus, Cancer, the chest, Gemini, the two arms. See the arms? That's Gemini. There's another one. See all the animals going down? Scorpio, the generative organs. So we have Aries in the head, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, the lion heart, Virgo, the belly, Scorpio, the generative organs, Libra, the kidneys, Scorpio, the generative organs, Sagittarius, the thighs, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Summer, this is considered to be heaven. This is considered to be hell. This is the Garden of Eden. This is outside of the Garden of Eden. The two equinoxes are two pillars, two brothers, two twins. The two twins in the Bible. Jacob and Esau. Cain that kills Abel. That's what they are. If this is the Garden of Eden, these are the two trees. The tree of life, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Why is that the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Because the equinox here gives you a knowledge of good and evil. And what did God say to Adam and Eve? He says, on the day of you eating from the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you will certainly die. Because this is the sun. Once the sun passes there, he will certainly die as it goes down to its death. Most people don't realise when they read the Bible what they're reading. They think that's history. That's not history. There's no real direct history in the Bible. It is mythological history. It tells you about how our solar system has gone through different phases. When there's a new heaven and a new earth, it's just the solar system. Saturn loses light, falls from heaven. That's the devil falling from heaven, because Saturn is Satan. And Satan is Saturn, and Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius down in hell. Whereas Jesus rules Leo. The sun is in Leo. That's the astrological house of Leo. So they're twins, Jesus and Satan. The sun and Saturn. Because the Saturn is the boss of cold and he's the boss of hot in our solar system. Two polarities, yeah. He's cold as. He's about how many astronomical units is Saturn away from the sun? He's freezing. If you're ever going to plan a trip, bring some jumpers, you know. There's the South Korean flag. Remember what I did? The yin and yang? That's red, fire. That's water, spirit and matter. Fire, earth, air and water. Okay, now, so let's put the signs in here that we know. Remember, this was Aries. Do you remember that? Because that's the equator there, yeah? Okay, so that's the first month. The blossom, the bull, take out your plough, right? Taurus. Scorpio, Sag, oops, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. That's the 12 signs of the zodiac. Aries is a fire sign, Taurus is earth, Gemini is air, and Cancer is water. Fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, water. It's called the quadruplicity. In Hebrew, it's Yod, He, Va, He, Jehovah. Fire, air, water, and earth. The Bible is a great book. It's a great book for enslaving people and freeing people, if you know that the message is every single character in there, every single character. There they are. And you're going to see this. All I need is time. Everything that you see in the sub-ether world of effects, everything does this. It generates, it operates, and it dissolves. In Hindu, they say the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer. Everything starts, does something, then stops in the molecular world that has been hexed. There's the hex, right? You're going to see that in a minute, what that means, right? It's all gonna, this is like putting a little clock together with all the little cogs and gears and that, right? Slowly and delicately. I'm trying not to rush, but I'm trying not to miss anything, because Mr. Cameraman over there doesn't like the way I jump from this to that and that, because there's so much information. Sorry, man. So, that's the quadruplicity Jehovah, the four elements that manifest in a pulse. It's three-phase pulse: generation, operation, dissolution. God is an acronym. It's not a title for our fictional God that we've invented. Generation, operation, dissolution. It is. God is 1, God is 2, God is 3, 4, 7 and 12, which I'll show you. God is 7, God is 12, God is a oneness. Love, God is light. That's what the sun offers. The sun offers love, light and life. In every culture, there are 3 L's. The El Lord, the Elios, in the Bible, in the Greeks call it Elios, the El Lord gives us El love, light, and life. It's the source of love, light, and life. Where else do those 3 things come from? And it comes in, and then the oneness divides into a 2, which is positive and negative, electricity and magnetism. There's nothing in the universe that is not electric or magnetic. Nothing. It's either one or the other. There is nothing outside of electromagnetism. That's the whole process of nature. And that's where the oneness becomes electric and magnetic in 3 phases, 3 pulses, with 4 elements or 4 polarities, because the atoms will polarize to either one of those. Hydrogen, carbon goes down to earth. If carbon is a hex. In fact, the atomic number for carbon is 666. What happens when you flat pack a hex? That's a hex, isn't it? Remember we said that carbon is solid. All atoms will either be solid or have cohesion or motion or temperature, because they are either photon, particle, an atom, or a molecule. Right? And it's hex. Why is it hex? Because the ancients knew that when you flat pack a hex, you get 666. That's the cross we have died on, which is the flesh that we live in. Our spirits have died on the cross of matter. When you see Jesus on the cross, he's died on fire, air, earth and water. Fire, earth, air and water. Not in that order. I'll show you the order later, but that's what they are. That's the hex. So, this is male energy, this is female. Male polarity. Because these are electric, they are male, 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 male. Water is feminine and earth is feminine. So if you're Capricorn, you're magnetically polarized. If you're Arian or Leo, you're electrically, positively polarized. It has to do with the way you think too. It has to do with how you accept ideas or how you... Electric people usually reject ideas. See how you can know your brothers and sisters and your family and your loved ones if you know your astrology. If you know you've got a child that's Capricorn, you'll know that they are sensual. They are sensual people because they, as Carl Jung taught us, they are the 5 sense people, whereas the water people are the emotional people. Notice that? The air people are thinking people. They're mind people. The spirit people are intuition. Now remember we said that's spring. It's also 6 o'clock, isn't it? So every day, when the sun comes up in the east, from 6 to 8, it's Aries time. We are polarized to the left brain. We're doing masculine, energetic things, going to work, for instance, or getting ready to eat. Taurus is the mouth. We wake up in the brain, don't we? The lights go on, we open our eyes in the head. Every day we wake up, there's the head of the man, there's the feet. Right? That's the cross that we've died on, and these are the Greek figures that amount to the book of Revelation, and shows how all of this stuff is in the book of Revelation. It's all in the Bible. It's the lowest degree of life, the molecule, isn't it? It's ether is molecules down here. It's the lowest degree of life, and that's what we're made of, molecules. Remember, yes is fire, the sun. Remember Jesus says, no one goes to the Father except through me. That's what it means. Everything in the Bible has wonderful meaning if you know the key. This is the key. This is the labyrinth. They call this the Mount Zion, the Temple of Solomon. This is the 12 pillars of the Temple of my God in Revelation. It's King Arthur's round table, King Arthur being the sun, and Guinevere being that mysterious woman, just like Jesus is the son and Mary Magdalene is the mysterious woman. And Jacob had 12 sons and one mysterious daughter, Dinah, who got raped. The mysterious woman is the moon, because as she goes around, and every full moon, she has sex with the sun in every full moon, because the woman is the receptive organ of our solar system, where we come through. That is the ovaries of the solar system. The sun is the impregnator. The electricity impregnates the magnetism, just like any electric charge you put in a rock and it stays magnetic. The sun is magnetizing all those molecular bodies. and we included. So if you notice, cardinal fire, of course fire starts at 6 o'clock in the morning, of course it starts in the head, of course fire starts in spring. Remembering the 3 cycles, right? Of course fire fixates here from 2 to 4 in the day, summer, the dog days are here, and the heart is the hottest organ of the body, isn't it? That's the heart. And then Sagittarius is where fire stops, because it's the 21st of September. It's all over fire. There's no fire in this quadrant. Water, air, earth. There's fire in this quadrant, there's fire in this quadrant, there's fire in this quadrant. There's none here, so fire stops here, it starts there. Make sense? So, cold, freezing, freezing, earth thawing out, that's where earth starts. And then earth fixates over here where you plant. That's the symbol of earth. That's the earth cycle fixed. And then it finishes when it gives its harvest over. And the harvest season is ended. And there's no earth in this quadrant here. Same with water. Water starts here with cardinal water, Cancer. Why would water start on the longest day of the year? Well, because there's a lot of heat here. This is summer. This is so hot that all the water on the earth has evaporated. It's maximum evaporation. Where's it got to go after it evaporates? It's got to come down, and it does. Fixed water, Scorpio, mutable water, and that's the end of the water cycle. So you see how the water atoms, the liquid has its cycle in 3 phases, like 3-phase electricity. This is heaven and this is hell, remember? How do I know? Well, when you know your languages, you know what's going on. This is winter. Winter in Latin is, does anyone want to help me with that? Inverno. Hell in Latin, or Italian, this is Italian actually, is inferno, infernal. It's the same thing. Hell is not hot, it's cold. This is, it's cold. It really is, but then you will understand why it's also hot and why it's red. Because look at that, remember that is your Scorpio, red? It's about there, isn't it, right? Notice that all the vital organs of the body are in the above part and they stop there at the generative organs. From the legs, Sagittarius down, there are no vital organs. They are the 8 hours in which you are sleeping every night, from 10 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning. There are no vital organs down there. They're all from here up. And there they are, from Scorpio to Aries in the Jewish menorah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stands of the Jewish menorah. This is their heaven, the Jews. The Garden of Eden. This is hell, inverno, inferno. And March is the first season because it was called Primus. Primus is number 1. That's the original name for Aries, March. Primus, Secundus, Tertius, Quartus, Quintus, Sestus, Sept. You wonder why September is called September 7 when it's the 9th month? It's not. It's the 7th month. The first month is March. The equinox. That is where the pulse starts in the head, and it starts in spring where the fire begins. Everything comes from fire. Everything emanates from light. Out of the ether comes the light, electricity, and out of the electricity comes the other magnetic effects. This is the holy science. And notice, I was going to say, notice how I told you that this is red, the Red Sea, and this is green. Well, everything, the Egyptians used to say, everything below the kidneys is red. There's the kidneys. Everything below the kidneys is red. So everything below the kidneys, Libra, they are the kidneys. Take note of these signs. Aries and Capricorn, the horned animals, are in the head. And then Gemini is the arms. Pollux and Castor, they're the twins. And the two lungs. That's what Gemini stands for. Cancer is the chest. Leo is the heart and the blood. And so on and so forth. Let me show you who the rulers are. That's the sun. The sun rules. The moon rules Cancer. Then from there down, it goes in order of Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Saturn is Satan, because Satan rules the underworld. Opposite to Jesus, his brother, his twin. In order of closeness to the sun, you see Mercury is closest to the sun, and then Venus, then Mars, then Jupiter, then Saturn. Yep, no worries. So you see that Mr. Hot is over here, and his brother, who kills him on the 21st of December, is over here, Saturn. Saturn rules the underworld, Satan. Although it might be heavy. Yeah, it is heavy at first time. You know, for the first time it's heavy. But so sorry about that. But I'm trying to get you learning such a beautiful science. And when you learn this science, this is the most powerful thing to know who you are and serve the God within, because you are an atomic, deific unit of light. You're not a sinner. There is no sin. This is sin, this is good. Everything has resistance, even that light. It ohms. What's that? Well, it's a resistance. You have resistors in all our electrical circuits, because you can't just let electricity run rampant. It's got to be resisted. Every force. The roof is resisted by the walls. Otherwise, if they weren't there, the roof would fall in on us. So that's all it is. It's all it is. The light has to be resisted by the cold and the darkness. Now have a look at this. If you thought, oh, I'm stretching it a bit to say that the sun rules the kingdom of heaven, and why is this the kingdom of heaven? Well, it's the land, well, that's hell, but it's the land flowing of milk and honey. Here's the milk. The Milky Way galaxy runs through Taurus and Gemini, and Sagittarius and Scorpio. That's the Milky Way galaxy. And here is the honey. There's an asterism in Cancer called the beehive. This is the milk and the honey. When the Israelites come up out of the promised land, they eat the Passover lamb, and they're in the land flowing with milk and honey. Well, it's talking about the sun. See, the sun dies here on the 21st of December. On the 25th of December, it has its birthday. We call it Christmas. Christmas, why? Because the sun, when it goes on the horizon, if you watch the sun setting in summer over here, and then 3 months later, in autumn, it's over here, and then winter over here, and then it's 6 months from there to there, right? On the horizon, it's 47 degrees because of the tilt of the Earth at 23.5 degrees. Let me get back on this side. 23.5 degrees. 23 and 23 make 47. So you can watch the sun walking on water, Jesus walking on water all year long. You like that, did you? I'll show you something you'll like much, much more than that, because this is beautiful. It really is. I'm glad you're appreciating it like that. There's the ocean every morning, and the sun rises. The sun is called yes, isn't it? Remember I told you that? How do I know? Let's be really sure about ourselves, eh? This is how I know, because they tell you. What are those 3 letters inside the sun that have always been there to tell us the name of the sun? It's Greek. Any Greeks? I-E-S. Yes. The H in Greek, that we see an H, I-E-S, that S, that is an I in Greek. It's called eta. We spell it like that, but it's I. Yes. Remember? And the Jews, yes. And we say Sorry about that, that's a horrible why. Yes, and then we've got the year out of that. Jesus is born of, in Latin, the mare is the ocean. Mary, Maria. Jesus is born of Mary. Every morning. Jesus turns water into wine. The grapes growing. The water pouring down in summer. The grapes growing, 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 growing. And then, this is the bread season when the virgins get the harvest. This is the wine season. The sun turns water into wine every year. It's the natural cycle that we have.